G'day folks, Mike here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different actually, which is a Q&A. So last night I'm sitting around the corner having a bonfire and I get a message from a friend of mine asking, paraphrasing a little bit here, she says, we're establishing a garden bed and we want to get the soil base happening, which is good, really good. Is it okay to use trimmings from weeds and specifically jumping jacks? And I said, oh, well, that's a great question. Let me actually record a video on this because I think it can be valuable to a number of people. So let me first actually start with a question. What is a weed? And even stop this video if you need to and have a think about that, because I think that is actually quite a potentially profound question and certainly a meaningful one. What is a weed? I put it to you that a weed is a cultural concept. In many cultures, in fact, they don't have a word for weeds, because actually it's patently ridiculous. A weed, again, I would put to you, is a plant that we haven't found the appropriate utility for or commodity in. What I mean by that is, let's reframe our thinking around weeds, because there are no accidents in nature. Everything is here for a reason and serves an ecological purpose and benefit. So, what we tend to think of as weeds are actually pioneer species. So these are the things that come in first and restore balance to your soil. So they're actually really beneficial. It's just that they're not the end product or the end goal of our site in many cases. So actually, I want you to reframe your thinking around weeds, and this goes back to what we've spoken about many times, which is there are no problems, there are only opportunities. And so I challenge you to reframe your thinking around weeds. They're actually an amazing thing. These are pioneer species coming in and restoring balance, adding nutrients, fixing nitrogen potentially, and all sorts of wonderful things into your soil. As their root systems go, they're developing, they're breaking up the compaction of the soil, they're aerating it, and allowing for creating space to allow worms and beneficial microorganisms to get into it. So weeds are fantastic. But I understand that they're not the end goal. They're not what we're trying to establish in our garden, especially if we're, creating a veggie garden. Okay, so the short answer being yes, it's okay to use those trimmings. I want to introduce you to a concept called no-dig gardening or no-tilling. Okay, and this is just going to be a super quick breakdown of the subject. And if you want an in-depth tutorial, I highly recommend you check out Morag Gamble. She's an amazing permaculture educator, and she does a whole masterclass on no-dig gardening. But we've done a mini version here, which you can see behind me, which is really beneficial. So, what's happening here? So, when you've got your weeds in there, don't balk at them, celebrate them for what they are, right? Thank you for your service, weeds, okay? Because they've done all the good work and prepared the soil for us, and now we're ready to go. So what you want to do, grab your trusty pitchfork and mark out your site and just pry it out a little bit. Loosen up the soil, aerate it a little bit. Add in maybe some sea salt, or give it a good watering, or add in all sorts of some good stuff as well. And then you want to just keep your weeds, throw them straight in there. They're organic matter. We want as much organic matter in the soil as we can to get as much diversity and beneficial bacteria, beneficial microorganisms, all sorts of things happening in the soil. So don't sleep on the value of weeds, because they're adding tremendous value in. But then, and here's the real secret to this system, if we're trying to eliminate the weeds or eliminate their prevalence, is the sheep mulching, right? Sheep mulching is the answer to this question, and this is the real crux of it. So don't sleep on the value of weeds. They're fantastic. Throw them in there, use your clippings, establish your soil base, fantastic. To keep the weeds away, what you want to be doing is sheep mulching. And you can use cardboard for this, but I recommend using newspaper. newspaper about 10 sheets deep or thick, give it a quick dunk in some water and lay it down, right? That'll be thick enough that it should suppress the weeds. And remember, you can always repeat this process as necessary into the future. And if weeds do pop up, and they will continue to do so over time because that is the nature of weeds, don't look at it as a problem, but look at it as an amazing opportunity for you to recycle that straight back into your system and consistently add more organic matter in. Okay, so sheet mulching is the ticket. Sheet mulch away, and then from there you can get a sharp garden trowel, for example, or something, and just perforate very quickly and cleanly that wet paper, and you can plant through there, and then add compost and soil or potting mix or whatever over the top, and then mulch densely, right? That's the really quick, short answer, but that is the absolute way that I would go about it. And so you can see here, for example, we've done something similar where you can see just this stretch here, that's all just mulch. That would have been, I would have continued to develop that into more of the garden bed, but now we're getting out of here. So that's not going to happen. I'm going to tear that apart a little bit. Unfortunate, but anyway. So to recap, we've come in here, we've marked out the sites. I put my little keyhole, can you see that? Keyhole entrances in. That's a subject on its own. Came in, marked it out, scored it a little bit and loosened it with the pitchfork, added some sea salt, sheet mulch, fold in all your weeds and all your grass and organic material, whatever, that's going to go straight back into the soil. Happy days, no worries. Sheet mulch over it, compost, potting mix, all the good stuff. Add your coffee grounds, add everything. Mulch densely, happy days. And then that's your soil ready to rock and roll and grow awesome stuff. So that's it for me. I just wanted to keep this super quick. Again, big shout out to Maura Gamble. Go check out her full in-depth masterclass on no-dig gardening. But the short and quick, short, sharp answer to the question, can we use the clippings from weeds, and specifically jumping jacks, to establish our soil base? Absolutely yes. Go for it. Mike out.